The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, heard Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on PSA.com and the PSA Facebook page. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by PSA and the National Sports Collectors Convention. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, visit sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now, your hosts, Tom Zappala and John Molori.
JM, man, I got to tell you.
Feels like weeks since I've seen you.
I have a bone to pick with you.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
You recommended a restaurant to me.
Really?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. And we ate there. Ellen and I and Rico and Elsie had dinner there the other night.
And the bad thing is you brought people I like.
In your hometown.
Okay.
The Fireside Restaurant.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm familiar with that. Usually very good.
It was god-awful.
Really?
God-awful.
No kidding.
It was, like, really bad. And I was so disappointed because we were going to go to the Chateau for a nice Italian.
Right.
At the last minute, somebody recommended it. And I said, okay, let's go to the Fireside.
Not for Italian, though.
No, we were going to have – Rico had pork chops.
Okay.
You could have used them as tennis rackets. All right?
A little dry?
I had steak tips, right? Golf balls.
I'm very surprised because usually it's a pretty solid meal there.
The only thing that was good, the martinis were really good.
Well, how do you screw that up?
Right, and the dessert was good.
Yeah.
I had the apple crisp, man. It was like this big.
But doesn't make up for the
food
fat.
was
really.
Yeah, I felt bad for Rico.
They're a nice family. It's a great place. I know they're struggling with help right now. They're closed on Sundays and Mondays because they can't get people to work.
You know something else funny, you guys? So we're sitting at the table, and next to us there's a group of baby boomers, probably 10 of them. It must have been some kind of a group thing. So we're sitting there, and they're looking at Rico. And they're looking at Rico.
Yeah, right.
And we go through this a lot. So they're
Sure.
looking at Rico, and it's a woman. She says, I know who you are. He says, you're right. They call me Yaz.
That's great.
That's what he said.
That's awesome.
We started
That's
laughing.
a great line.
All right, listen, the name of the show is the Great American Collectibles Show. We have a we have a really good show today.
Yeah.
We have a guest coming finally to get him on camera. He's only been with us once.
Yep.
Steve Bloedow from.
Got it.
See? I mean that's, it's collect auctions.
I just lost $10, Steve, but he got it.
So we're gonna bring Steve in. Steve is in us right now. But before we chat with Steve, our headlines.
Yeah. What's going on in the world?
Topps unveiled the selections for its 2021 Rookie Cup team on the MLB network last Monday morning.
Yes.
So every year Topps comes out with their all-star rookie team,
rookies,
their
right.
primo rookies,
Right.
the cards.
Right.
You ready? Here they are.
You got it.
So if you have money to spend, and Steve, you may want to chime in on this. These are the 2021 top Rookie Cup team of this year.
That's for this year.
Catcher, Tyler Stevenson, Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
First base, Ryan Mountcastle, good ball player.
Very good.
Second base, Jonathan India. Don't even know who the hell he is.
No, he's very good. Good pick so far.
Third base, Patrick Wisdom.
Okay. Smart guy.
Shortstop, Juan DeFranco. He's the best of the lot.
Unbelievable.
He's the best of the lot. Outfield, Randy Arozarena.
Because he's still considered a rookie, even though he played last year.
Correct.
But
Adolis Garcia and Dylan Carlson from the St. Louis Cards.
that's a good team.
Your right-handed pitcher is Louis Garcia from Houston, who...
That's the guy that put the Red Sox away.
Yeah, but he kind of runs hot and cold.
Well, they say that he cheats also. They do. They say when they were talking about how the Astros with the cheating thing,
Really?
that when he scuffs the ball, he wins. Like he scuffed against the Sox, but then he played the next series and he was awful.
So you do realize that as we're speaking, his value of his card is dropping like a rock.
Just dropping 100%.
Like a rock.
You might as well go eat at the fireside.
Left-handed pitcher is Trevor Rogers from the Marlins, good pitcher.
Yep.
And the right-handed pitcher is Emmanuel Clace from Cleveland. The Cleveland Guardians. What the hell kind of a
They
name
will be
is
the
that?
Guardians. They did that to
Silly.
go on the cheap. Because
Silly.
all you have to do is take out the IN
Cleveland.
and put in a GUAR. You can keep the Dians.
So here's your headline, and that's it. Brought to us by our good friends at Sports Collectors Daily. Get the news 24/7.
It's actually a pretty good team.
It is. At sportscollectorsdaily.com, Rich Miller and our great gang. And our giveaway today, this is really cool. This is from the here, you can hold it up.
Yeah, I'll hold it.
This is from the 1967 Impossible Dream Team. That's the famous
Since
photo.
1996, Brian Drent and the staff at
that's very
Denver's
nice.
Mile High Card
Are we
Company.
running we running a spot?
We do what we do here. You like to keep me on my toes.
We're doing
respect.
subliminal messages now.
Yeah.
So this is the
Brian Drent. Brian Drent.
this is from the 1967 Impossible Dream Team, signed by Rico. That's when he caught
That's like
the pop-up.
Great.
That's
it, man.
That's a great Boston icon picture.
Yeah.
Where Rich Rollins pop up to not to win the pennant, but to clinch at least
So
a
I'm
tie.
going to say this is the Red Sox version of the Bobby Orr goal.
It is.
This photo.
Right
This
there.
photo.
Very famous.
Yeah.
Signed by Rico.
Yes.
Under the duress of 2 martinis.
And bad pork chops.
And bad pork chops. All right, let's bring in Steve. Steve, welcome, obviously.
Thanks for having me.
As you know, we don't take ourselves too seriously. And,
How could you tell?
and we want you just to kind of enjoy and run with it, as they say. So first of all, you and I were speaking the other day, and this auction, is this like one of your biggest auctions ever? I mean, this is a blockbuster auction.
Yeah, it's maybe the biggest ever. I mean, I had the 86 Fleer case last year. That was, 1.8 million alone. But overall, I think this is definitely the biggest auction this year. Maybe my best ever.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. Steve, talk about some of the stuff in there. I want to get into a couple of the items, or a few of the items, but specifically some of this unopened materials that you have in this auction are tremendous. I mean, we're talking about cases, unopened boxes.
259 lots.
It's unbelievable. And I think across the board in the business, this seems to be a growing trend in popularity. Can you talk about a couple of your favorites in there, and then just generally about the popularity of these items?
Yeah, I mean, the 73 5th Series baseball wax box is cool. You just don't see them come up very often. 72 football high numbers wax, 76 baseball wax you really don't see very often. And, there's some really cool cellos with, 80 Ricky Henderson on top, 75 Aaron, 75 Nolan Ryan,
and the 75 Aaron, that's got to be his last card, probably, right? If that, unless he had a 76. Did he have a 76?
But Steve,
okay.
let's stay with this for a second. So these 70s packs, now they have picked up a head of steam like you wouldn't believe. 15 years ago, that wasn't quite the case, correct? For unopened packs from the 70s. Then, I mean, is it because there aren't many 50s and 60s packs left over? Is it because now the Gen X and the millennials have kind of come into the picture? I mean, 70s wax and cellos are like off the charts.
It's everything. It's the perfect storm. It's low production. Everybody opened that stuff. Nobody thought of keeping it closed. It's every pack break that you see where they bust a 75 cello, the supply just went down by one.
It's crazy.
So it's everything all together. And I just think the production levels of that 70s stuff, and obviously before that, are so low that that stuff's going to continue to rise.
So conversely, though, let's go into the 80s, just the opposite happened, correct?
Yeah, I'm still mixed on where the 80s stuff is going to go. 80 to 85 is still really, really good stuff. But, I don't personally collect, really beyond 85. I just remember how much of that stuff was out there. And at that point, people knew to keep some of it closed.
I mean, how many people, JM, I mean, you're younger than I am, but how many people during in your generation during those 80s? I remember my sister buying boxes of that stuff and just throwing it in a closet.
I mean, the bulk of my own collection started in the mid-'70s, but then it was very exciting in the 80s and even beyond 85 because that's when you had Bonds and Clemens and McGuire a lot, and then Griffey came in the late 80s, and there's just so many. I remember when I got that Mark McGuire Olympic card. that was like, oh my God, this is going to be worth. But there was like a million of them out there. Plus now he's on the steroid list. So that's a tough era, isn't it, Steve?
It is. And I mean, I was a kid back then. The thought of keeping something closed was completely foreign to me.
Right.
I was opening it before I got home, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we used to do the same thing.
Of course.
Wayne Peters, my best friend.
Sure.
I mean, we used to literally, Dave, we were talking about Eddie's Variety. When we were kids, we used to go into Eddie's Variety. This is the God's honest truth. And Eddie, he was a friend of ours. He owned a store. He was an old man, about 75 years old.
Well. Yeah.
And he used to say to us, we used to buy cards, 1 pack a week. But he'd say, come on Friday afternoons, because he used to get them delivered on Friday mornings. So Wayne and I would go, we'd get a pack, we'd buy a pack each, and we'd walk outside, sit on the stoop, sit on the sidewalk, and open them up, and I'd say, need it. Got it.
Right.
Need it. And him and I would swap cards, 2 or 3 cards, and because he was working on a particular type of collection.
Sure.
I was working on a Red Sox collection.
Yeah.
Need it, got it, need it, got it, and then wait till the next week. But that's what it was all about.
Yeah. Yeah,
Steve,
you opened it before you even got
Oh,
home.
God, yeah.
So, Steve, what's the attraction to, I'm going to say, collectors/investors of the unopened items? Are they going to go and open that and then try to sell these cards individually? I know it's hard for you to say. Everyone's different. But what do you think is the reason why the popularity has surged for people who are investing?
I think a lot of them are definitely keeping it, tucking it away, and looking at the price increase from the last 10 years and kind of assuming a similar path.
Do you?
There are some people that are busting it, and maybe if you buy 10 rack packs, you bust one for kicks and you live your childhood. I don't know.
Do you think, Steve, that there's a feeling that, especially with the unopened items, that let's say in the next 2-3 years, because they're all kind of coming, especially Bonds and Clemens, they're kind of coming up. I think Bonds is coming up on his last chance to be voted into the Hall of Fame by the writers. Are they kind of waiting? Hey, when he and Clemens get in, with the new writers coming in, a lot of that steroid bias is going to go away. Now this is going to be worth even more. You think there's sort of that feeling of waiting for that to happen?
I think so, as some of these guys that are kind of in limbo, I guess. Make the Hall. I think there are a lot of people speculating, when's A-Rod going to get in? When's
A-Rod is another one. In? Right, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
All right, let's get into some of the specifics. I mean, you've got a Mantle rookie card. Tell us about that. I don't have the grade in front of me.
It's a 1.5.
Yep.
It's the surface is a little bit spotty, but it's a really, really nicely centered card, which is tough to find with that.
Something, that particular card in the 1.5. I mean, that's what the budget collector. I mean, how many people have $500,000 to spend on a card? What's the starting bid on that going to be, or is it? I'm sorry.
$5,000-6,000, I think. Somewhere in there.
That's very reasonable. But that card will wind up going for what, 5 figures, high 5 figures?
It'll probably it's really in the eyes of the beholder. I mean, there's threes that go for over 100,000 because they're really nicely centered.
Yeah.
And then there's threes that go for 40 to 50. It's really tough to figure out what the card is going to go for, but I think it's probably a 30,000.
We've been talking about that a lot, how we were talking about it last week with Rico on the show, how you can have a graded card, a PSA 3 Mantle, that looks like a PSA 4. And even though it's graded at 3, you can get a 4 price when you sell it.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's very, very common.
Yeah.
And, I think that's important. The way the card looks, the grade obviously is important, but the way the eye appeal of the card has a lot to do with what the actual sell price or the value of the card is going to wind up at.
Sure. Absolutely.
Do you have a 51 Bowman? Did I see a 51 Bowman Mantle also?
Yeah, it's authentic. It's a nice looking card, but it's got a little square punch hole in it. I don't know the story behind it, but it's got a little hole in it. and somebody's going to get a nice looking authentic grade.
I think if you got 6 of those holes, you get a free hot dog. Like at a restaurant somewhere, you get the card. And
30 over 30 years ago, one of the first T206 cards I bought, I think I paid $15 for it. Was a Shag Shaughnessy, right? And both his eyes, they popped out both of his eyes.
It was a voodoo card.
That's why I bought the card. I loved it.
And one of his exes.
It's like someone stuck a common pin through both eyes. It was hysterical. So I bought the card, of course. Did you have a question?
I did. I just want to ask a little bit, Steve, about some of these great signed items, signed cards and signed items. And again, like Zap said, from high price stuff down to things that are a couple $100, $300, whatever. Like you have a signed New York Jets helmet, a team signed helmet from 1968 in this auction. I mean, if you're a New York Jets fan, God bless you. But that's a great item to get at a pretty reasonable price. Just talk about some of the signed items that you have in the auction.
I mean, we've got quite a few Jordan items. Yep. I think a couple of basketballs and a jersey. There's a 52 Willie Mays, 52 Topps Willie Mays.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Really?
It's really cool.
Nice.
You have a Peyton Manning jersey, I think, in there, right? And
a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're all over the place. I mean, I think that's the appeal of this auction.
All eras, yeah.
You got all eras, and you've got
Yeah.
many different sports. I mean, you've got a little of everything here.
Even outside of sports, we've got a JFK autograph. We've got a Marilyn Monroe, Joe DiMaggio signed check frame display that's really cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Really wide offering this time.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask because you brought it up. You talk about the not only non-sports, but maybe in sports, but non-cards. You have contracts and things like that in this auction. I guess talk about a couple of them that stand out for you, but then also how do you get that stuff? Are you getting that on consignment? How do you find things like that?
I mean, it comes from all over. Dealers, collectors. Some person that knows absolutely nothing about the hobby that, digs it out of a box in a closet that's been there for 50 years.
You got a Chuck Dreesen lineup card in there.
Really?
You got some really interesting items in there.
Yeah. There's a big collection, Bill Anderson collection that we've offered. I think this is the 4th different auction we've had some of his stuff in there. And
cool. Very cool.
We're kind of at the end of our Mickey Lolich.
I wanted to ask you about that. Mickey Lolich was one of my favorite pitchers growing up. He was a great second pitcher on that Detroit team.
Yeah.
Did his collection come straight from his family?
Directly from him. So we got his World Series trophy. We've had that a year ago.
Is he still alive?
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And we've had all these signed baseballs, game used baseballs. He had teammates, and everybody knew that he wanted that last baseball for his wins and games that he appeared in. So he's got most of them, and
That's
this
cool,
is the 4th big group of them that we've offered, and this will be it.
He was a bull.
He played
man.
with a lot of great players.
Oh, he was a bull.
Obviously, Denny McClain, the 30 win.
Don Cash,
Al Kaline.
Norm Kaline.
And Lolich was a kind of pitcher who, like you said, back then was a second guy in the rotation.
Absolutely.
If Lolich pitched the way he pitched today, he'd be a number one guy.
I mean, he was
and he'd be making $30 million a year. He was a really good pitcher.
He was a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't he win? I think he won 20 once or twice, didn't he?
He was a solid pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was, but that was a hell of a team. Mickey Stanley,
really good,
all those
really
guys.
Good. Willie Horton.
Willie Horton. That was a good team. We are chatting with Steve Bloedow from collectauctions.com. We have about a minute before we take a break. You have a 33 Goudey, Ruth, correct?
Yes.
PSA.
3 of them.
3 of them. Graded 4s, 5s?
One is a 4.5, and it's the nicest 4.5 I've ever seen. And the others are low grade. One is, I think the others are maybe authentic.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to chat a little more with Steve from Collect Auctions, and we have some other stuff to talk about.
Awesome.
Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi everyone, I'm Rico Petrocelli, and I'm very excited to talk to you about our new partner, Panini America. Panini America is the world leader in licensed sports and entertainment collectibles, and we're proud to have them as the official trading card of the Great American Collectibles Show. When it comes to modern trading cards of your favorite players, Panini America leads the way in terms of innovation, design, creativity, value, and fun. From landmark brands such as Donruss, Prism, and Contenders to high-end juggernauts like Flawless, National Treasures, and Immaculate, Panini America delivers the hottest trading cards of the biggest names in the NBA, NFL, MLB, PA, NASCAR, soccer, and college. When you want to collect the best, collect Panini America. Ask for it at your local hobby shop or at mass retailers like Target and Walmart. And you can always find Panini America online at icollectpanini.com. Panini America. Who do you collect? How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auction and Collectibles Company. If you're looking to maximize your return on your sports cards and collectibles, look no further. We at Memory Lane Auction House offer you several options to achieve top dollar for your collectibles. Whether you're looking to auction or sell privately, we're the #1 choice with over 17 years in the hobby. Nobody will work harder to achieve your goals. Just call us today at 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE. Or visit us on the web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Go with the best. Go with Memory Lane.
Okay, we are back, and we are chatting with Steve Bloedow. It's great. It's a cool name, Steve Bloedow.
Bloedow.
Yeah, from collectauctions.com. Before we get back to Steve, let's talk about JM, our good friends at eBay.
You got it, Zap. This goes.
Talk much?
Can you hear me now?
Some of us are
Let's
professionals.
try that again. You got it, Zap. This goes out to all the card collectors, the ones who bought their first pack when they were 10 and still feel 10 when they buy a pack at 50.
That's how I feel.
50? The ones who obsessively go to eBay to research, the ones hoping desperately.
I mean desperately.
To find that card, they don't just want, Zap. They need. eBay is here for them with a trick for every trade, like advanced tools for price checking with our Price Guide Beta, improved management with our online collection, and up to 50% faster listing with Image Scan. Learn how collecting just got smarter. That's ebay.com/trading hub. Go to ebay.com/trading hub.
You know, I'm going to give you a for instance
of
some of the unbelievable cards that have been sold recently on eBay.
All right.
A Patrick Mahomes 2017 Contenders Optic Gold Prism. What do you think it sold for, JM?
Somewhere around $67,000.
You're like Kreskin. That's amazing.
Tell him exactly what that went for.
$67,251.
Unbelievable.
What about the Kobe Bryant autographed 81-point game ticket? Scored 81 points. What did that little ticket go for?
I wouldn't pay a cent over $15,000.
$14,940. The man is amazing. See, is he amazing?
It's like Rain Man.
I've never.
Definitely like Rain Man.
A Tom Brady. Listen to this one. A Tom Brady autographed helmet, 1 of 1. It means there's only one of this particular type that he signed. How much?
So this is like when he went to the doctor and they said, you know, how much what is it a dollar? I'm going to say $4.
Right. $10,600.
Wow. This is on eBay,
yes.
people.
So just go to ebay.com and you can make your purchases.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get back to Steve. Steve, let's talk about football and basketball items. You do have quite a few. Can you just run some of them by us?
We've got a lot of the early, 50s Bowman and top sets for football. We've got a 54 Topps hockey set that's really nice. A lot of vintage cards. Like I said, Jordan autographs. Again, a real wide array.
Are you seeing an uptick in football?
Somewhat.
It's still
basketball's on fire. And
basketball's really on fire. God.
Really strong, and football's kind of hit and miss. It is generally rising like everything else.
Yep.
It's just not quite getting the spotlight.
I think both of those sports, though, Steve, maybe you agree or disagree. A, it's seasonal, okay? So when basketball season hits, I think there's a lot of excitement. And then I really think it's fueled by young players. And in football, we have all the great quarterbacks now, like Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Burrow and those guys coming up. And in basketball, I mean, we had a great influx of talent. With John Morant and Zion Williamson. I mean, it's like
Zion is going to eat himself out of the league.
Well, that's the problem. He's been hurt. But, I mean, don't you think it's kind of fueled by the young talent that comes into the league?
Yeah, definitely. We've got some really just electric young talent out there right now.
Jason
the vintage
Tatum,
stuff is good in season, out of season, whatever. But the new stuff really is driven by the younger stars and in season.
How long have you been in the business, Steve?
I mean, in the business, I guess I've been running collect auctions for 13 years now.
So, do you consider yourself a vintage guy or a modern guy? Or a little both?
Much more of a vintage guy.
Yeah, I am too. And I think that the vintage market has been helped, I think, now by the modern and ultra modern market because, and we've talked about this in the past, JM. This young group of investor/collectors, they're starting to kind of look at the whole picture.
I agree. 100%.
The whole picture.
I agree. 100%.
And that's cool because that's what my collection is.
Yeah. Steve, I want to talk a little bit. You have some really interesting items in this auction. They're photo groups. And you have a lot of them. Can you talk? I mean, there's some photo groups of like guys who are on the same team, photo groups of players who played in the same era. Can you just talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, some of those are from this Dr. William Anderson. We've sold a lot of his collection. We're literally last night until about 11 o'clock. We're still going through his stuff. He he had like the mother load of Detroit Tigers stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is from him, and there's some really cool, unique shots. Players you don't see very often, signed photos, a lot of stuff.
I think, Zap, in this auction, when I was going through it, preparing for the show, there's just a lot of things in this auction that may not appeal to you, okay, or me, but someone's going to go through this auction and go, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
And again,
too.
it might be something for $10,000, or it might be something for $250. It might, and I think that's the beauty of what I really like about this particular auction, Steve, is that there's a lot of what I'll call nuggets in there. There's some real nuggets in there that, a deep sports fan is going to say, I haven't seen that.
And you know
before.
something? That's where you get the best deals.
No question.
That guy that digs deep and starts looking and says, "Wow, no one else has bid on this, or only a few people have bid on it." Steve, I tell you, I'm looking at what you have in this auction, and in my opinion, I think the thing that's really cool is the 103 T3 Turkey Reds that you have in this auction. Now, you're not selling them as one lot, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we're selling them as a near set. There's only 2 missing. All the big names are there. They're all low grade, but
doesn't matter.
You can't be that picky with Turkey Reds.
Right. That is such a beautiful series. I mean, those are pieces of art,
We've also got the whole boxing set.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, very cool. So the starting bid, I believe I saw it 10,000 on the T3s.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, that's going to be a home run. That's going to be a home run.
Yeah, that's really unique. I mean, Cobb, Walter Johnson. It's just such a cool set. It's maybe the coolest set in the history of.
I agree. It really is. Those are the big ones.
Yeah, sure.
They're really
sure.
cool.
Steve, I've seen just in doing the show, interviewing people like yourself, I think there's been an uptick in popularity of cards and items from Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, and Jackie Robinson. You have some Mays and Aaron's items in this auction. Can you just talk about Mays and Aaron, since those are the guys that are in your auction, and where their items are now in the marketplace?
They're really, really strong.
Yeah.
Mantle's kind of in a class by himself.
Right.
He was always really high, and nice cards are out of a lot of people's price range. You could still pick up Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and even Clemente.
That's another one, right?
For somewhat affordable prices. So, Aaron took off. Unfortunately, when he passed,
with his passing, right?
Seems like people.
That happens.
It does happen. It does.
Happen.
It's like art, right? It's like art. When the artist dies, it's a sad fact, but true.
Made people pay attention, and it actually made people pay attention more to Mays also. Like, he's not obviously going to be around forever.
Right.
So they started piecing together those collections, and Mays and Aaron are 2 of the hottest names in the hobby, really.
Yeah. Well, playing on what you said about the younger collectors maybe learning more about vintage, I think that's what happens. And again, sadly, when a guy like Henry Aaron passes,
absolutely,
all of a sudden the news items come in. You go back and look at the stats, right? I think that was the case with Jordan last year with The Last Dance. You almost forgot like how good Michael Jordan was, because we've seen all these players headed by LeBron James since he retired, and all of a sudden you go back and say, hey man, this guy was really good, and hence his items are really valuable. Do you find that, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. People might start at, the modern guys, but then eventually they kind of reach back, and whether they reach back to, Jordan era or, way before that. I mean, you notice a massive uptick in, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb,
Sure.
Lou Gehrig, up to Mantle Mays, and, it's kind of, I think people generally start out at the new stuff, the stuff that's right. They can watch it on TV, the night before and go back and collect. And then they eventually kind of reach back and go to the older stuff.
Steve, you mentioned something about you and Jamie. You're just talking about that next tier of cards the Mazes and those cards. You know, just below them, I'm also noticing an uptick in the cards like Al Kaline, Whitey Ford, Yogi. You know, Yogi's cards. I mean, that there's another group there that Sandy Koufax. There's another group there that their cards seem to be kind of rising like a phoenix.
I agree. Nice vintage cards of key names are across the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, it's you know, let's talk about you mentioned earlier you have a lot of non-sports items in the auction. Is there a big market for that?
Yeah, it's not as widespread as the big sports or anything, but those guys are hardcore. The guy that's going to buy the Horrors of War set,
right?
They know everything about that set, and they're really devoted.
So how do you reach out? And you're making a very good point. How does Steve Bloedow find those people to make sure that they understand that those cards are in his auction? Do you have some type of a list that you can notify people?
Yeah, there's different lists, there's different places to advertise. You throw a lot of stuff out there in your advertising to a lot of companies. You appear on a radio show with you guys. And if you're out there and you're looking, you find it. We also have different lists and networks of people that we can notify that may not see some of the advertising. So
gotcha.
We're talking with Steve Bloedow from at Collect Auctions. Want to do a little bit of our friends?
Yeah, why don't you talk about our friend Charlie Perino at Just Rip It?
Well, Zap, if you want to have an absolute blast,
I do.
You do. At obtaining some great modern and vintage cards, you got to check out Just Rip It. You do. Our paisan, Charlie the Ripper Perino, along with Money Marco and the JRI gang, give you the chance to participate in opening an unopened and sealed fresh wax or cello pack of your favorite sport. Who knows? You may end up with a Mantle, a Williams, a Trout, a Brady, or even a Rico Petrocelli. You just don't know. It's easy. You buy in, Charlie opens the pack, and you win. It's that simple. As a matter of fact, if you pull that special jewel, the guys at Just Rip It will even have it graded for you. Featured in the LA Times, ESPN, and USA Radio, Just Rip It is the hottest card-pulling show on the internet. Charlie and his staff make it fun, entertaining, and enjoyable with his collection of hats, sound effects, and yes, you may even see him wearing a leather helmet from Rico's days playing for Knute Rockne. You're going to love it. How come you don't do sound effects? And let's not forget that Just Rip It donates part of their proceeds to various charities.
I am a professional.
You are. That's Just Rip It, the break show that everyone is talking about. They're always digging up cardboard treasures. For a great hobby experience, go to justripit.com.
We are chatting with Steve Bloedow from Collect Auctions. Steve, third-party grading, how important is it?
Extremely. Even if it's low grades, high grades, you want to know exactly what you're getting. I think the market is becoming more and more educated. It's, there's a lot more money in it, right, which unfortunately brings a lot more criminals.
Have you read what's been going on? I don't know if you know this, JM. In the last 2 weeks, they have broken into 2 card shops.
Yeah.
One, $1 million worth of cards.
Yeah. I remember we had that in our headlines.
They had. Well, I just read. Did you see the one they had on camera where the guy smashed the case? They had him on camera. He smashed the case with a fire extinguisher. $1 million worth of cards.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yep. No doubt. Steve, hey, before we let you go, we're not pressed for time, but let's get a little personal in terms of your sports here. Who are your teams? Who are you a fan of? What teams do you follow? And does your collecting go by your favorite teams, or do you do other stuff with your collecting?
I'm an hour from Green Bay, so I'm a diehard Packers fan.
Yep.
Beyond that, team-wise, I like the Chicago Blackhawks. My collecting path really has nothing to do with that.
What is your collecting path? I was going to ask you. You got some beautiful stuff behind you.
Yeah, I noticed that.
What is your collecting path? A little of everything, or do you stick with just game used stuff?
It's a little bit of everything, but I'm mostly unopened stuff, and like vintage cards. Ruth, Cobb, Gehrig. I'm trying to put together a T206 Hall of Famer graded set.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's a little work.
Yeah.
It's a little work.
I'm almost there.
Are you really? That's good for you.
Yeah.
High grade, mid grade?
3.
Yeah.
3s and 4s.
That's what I did. That's what mine is.
Do you wish the Packers had signed Odell Beckham Jr., or are you happy they did not?
I definitely wish they would have.
Yeah. I think that would have been a great spot for him.
I just think it would have been a perfect spot. Rodgers spreads the ball around and the virus.
He is a spreader.
He's a receiver who needed to play on the Packers for a half a season and kind of revive his talent and then sign a big contract elsewhere.
Are you I'm sorry.
No, you go.
Are you a Wisconsin guy originally?
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you're not my age, but you don't. Were you around during the Bot Star days and that crew?
No, I'm 50, so I kind of missed that. But the David Whitehurst, days that
Lynn Dickey. Do you remember Lynn Dickey? Remember Lynn Dickey?
Yeah.
I tell you what.
How about the famous Magic Man, Don Makowski? That was.
Yes.
Oh my God. See, I mean, when I was a kid, I'm not kidding. I mean, just watching those Packer teams.
Oh, I could imagine. I'm way too young to remember that.
I mean, I was like 7, 8, 9 years old, and remember, we didn't have there was no Patriots then.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So it was the New York Giants. It was
right.
NFL. And
Yeah.
I mean, Bot Star, and we had Billy Quinlan from Lawrence.
Of course.
Billy was he was an all-pro. But, that team, Lombardi teams, those teams were amazing.
Yeah.
They were just animals.
Getting back to the auction a little bit, but staying on the line we're at, Steve, I know you have some Walter Payton. You have a Walter Payton card in there, some Wayne Gretzky. Talk about them a little bit, but I also want to talk about, I'm guessing, a guy you were a fan of, and that's Brett Favre. I mean, this is a guy who, when he retired, held a lot of records in the NFL.
You mean
guys
Brett
like
Favre?
Brett Favre, yeah. Guys like Brady and Manning have, passed him since then. But first, talk about those guys, Peyton and Gretzky, but then talk about your boy Brett Favre a little bit, too, in terms of his collectibles.
That Peyton PSA 9 rookie is stunning.
It is.
I've looked at it. It's been in my office for a month and a half. I don't know what kept it from a 10.
Yeah.
It's centered on the back, which is really rare for a lot of the 9s are not centered on the back, and that one is perfect. The Gretzky, Topps, and O-Pee-Chee rookies, they're lower grade in this one, but they appeal to more collectors because most people can't afford the high grades now. Favre was fun to watch. It was always a little hot cold with him because he could throw.
I know.
He could.
5 touchdowns and be amazing one week, and then
stick up the field the next. Exactly.
I know.
Lob it into 6 defensive backs. 3 times the next.
Hey, Steve, when is the auction?
Right.
When's the auction end?
November 18th.
So November 18th will be tomorrow.
Yes.
Because remember, we're taping. So get online tonight, and this is the time to bid. The night before is the time
Thursday
to bid.
Thursday the 18th.
That's correct. So that's awesome. And your website address?
Collectauctions.net.
Collectauctions.net. Steve, it's been a pleasure. We hope that you will, now that we got you on camera, that you think about coming back.
Camera is not my friend. I got more of a radio face.
Well, was it difficult? No, right?
No, not at all.
Awesome. All right, we appreciate your time, and good luck with the auction.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Steve Bloedow, nice guy.
Good guy. Really good guy.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. Big Al, the new lead singer for Journey, is going to be joining us. Al Crisafulli. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
My name is Davis. Please consider making a donation to the Jimmy Fund and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and help stamp out cancer in kids. We have all been touched by cancer, but we can win the battle. Please make your donation, and remember, no amount is too small. The Jimmy Fund is the official charity of the Boston Red Sox. Thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Rico Petroselli. I hope you listen to my pal Davis and make a contribution. We want to make children's cancer a thing of the past, and with your help, we can do it. Just go to TomZappalaMedia.com to make your charitable donation.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
Panini America is the world leader in licensed sports and entertainment collectibles, and we are proud to have them as the official trading card company of the Great American Collectibles Show. Panini leads the way in innovation and design with great brands like Donruss, Prism, Contenders, Flawless, National Treasures, and Immaculate. Partnering with the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball Players Association, NASCAR, FIFA, and college, Panini is certainly at the head of the hobby. You can find Panini products in major retailers like Walmart and Target, or online at icollectpaniniamerica.com. That's Panini America. Who do you collect?
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auction and Collectibles Company. If you're looking to maximize your return on your sports cards and collectibles, look no further. We at Memory Lane Auction House offer you several options to achieve top dollar for your collectibles. Whether you're looking to auction or sell privately, we're the #1 choice with over 17 years in the hobby. Nobody will work harder to achieve your goals. Just call us today at 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE. Or visit us on the web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Go with the best. Go with Memory Lane.
Okay, we are back. I want you to look at this gentleman.
I mean,
look at his hair versus your lack.
Well, look at
thereof.
anyone's hair versus my hair.
All right.
I mean, you don't have a whole.
Excuse me, that's not true because now I've moved it over here.
I see.
And back here, no, seriously, Al, have you ever seen a guy look like this? Look at this face.
I have seen a guy look like that, mostly in like prison movies and things like that.
It's amazing.
You're so pretty. You're so pretty. They needed to give you a whole new pretty studio to be
That's
in.
correct.
That's got little. You said Journey.
I said the lead singer for
More
Journey.
like the lead singer of Quiet Riot.
Al, I tell you what,
Also,
though.
he's dead,
I'll tell
right?
you what. Oh, that's right. He is dead.
But he had a hell of a head of hair.
I still think, I got to talk to your wife. I still think you need to get the goat going. You need a goat.
I may.
I think
'cause
you
I've
look
gotta
so
cover
cool.
up this chin. All these,
That's why he does it.
That's right. Hi, Al Crisafulli from Love of the Game Auctions. Before we chat with Al, why don't you tell our listeners and viewers about our good friend Joe Drellick and the Philly Show?
I'll do just that. East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show, the Philly Show, from Friday, December 3rd to Sunday, December 5th at the Valley Forge Casino Resort in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Our favorite place.
It is.
Shop over 200 of your favorite hobby dealer booths on over 55,000 square feet of sports collectibles heaven from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collecting needs. The Philly Show is family-friendly, and all kids 12 and under get in for free. Autographed guests who include Manny Trio, the great second baseman, Steve Carlton, Pete Rose, Jim Thome, his first Philly area appearance since his Hall of Fame
I thought
induction.
it was Jim Thome.
No, it's not Thome. It's Thome. Like Bloedow.
Okay.
Wrestling legend
Plateau.
Ric Flair. Give me a woo.
Woo!
You got it. And, of course, Major League Baseball's oldest living MVP, Bobby Shantz. For more information, go to PhillyShow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is where it all started.
You know, Al, when I was when we did the Philly Show recently, Ellen and I went down there to do the show, and we were fortunate enough, Mike Hefner, you know Mike from Leland's, Mike Hefner?
I don't think we've met.
Yeah, Mike's the owner of Leland's, and Mike invited us into his home to, we did the photo shoot for the new book, and the photographer, and one thing, he's got the most incredible private collection in the country, hands down, five rooms. He's got one room entirely dedicated to wrestling.
And like the golden age of wrestling.
I mean,
Like
he
the
has
Hogan, Macho Man,
he
right?
has
Yeah.
the costumes of every single wrestler that ever wrestled, from Killer Kowalski to Haystacks Calhoun. And the height that I will show you someday is that I had Randy Macho Man Savage's hat on.
You did
and
not.
Ellen took a picture of me.
Nice.
I will.
You
I
got to
will-
get
I
that
will
for the
display
show.
that. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
He knows that's not real, right?
I'm just telling you. What are you talking about?
By the way,
Hold on.
I grew up.
It's not real.
I grew up with Bob Backlund.
Oh, yeah, the big redhead.
I mean,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
we were all there at some point.
Yeah, right.
Listen,
Have you guys? Have
We
you guys had
believed,
Drent on
Al.
the
We
program?
believed.
Have you what?
Have you had Drent on the program today?
Brian, no, Brian is. He was on in
Last
place
week,
of
right?
one Al Crisafulli. And Brian was just on this past Wednesday night. If you watched the show, we had him in the studio with us because one Al Crisafulli couldn't make it. So we had one Brian Drent on in the studio with us, who was fantastic,
I'm
by
coming
the
up
way.
there, but I need to give Brian some props for that Ruth last night. 2.4 million.
Is that what it went for?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
It went
that's
for
a beast.
2.4 million. You know something? He brought it in. We had it here with us. So you remember the Babe Ruth card, guys?
I wasn't bringing anything in there worth 2.4 million.
Remember the Babe Ruth card that
Oh,
Brian?
yeah.
He wound up
Yeah.
getting 2.4 million for it.
Wow.
And he predicted 2.5. Predicted 2.5. So that's
pretty good.
Pretty cool. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
pretty good. No, I'm
Congrats
good.
to
All right,
Brian.
let's talk about the Love of the Game auction. You got a great auction. I'll tell you what hits me right in the face is the T3s. Tell us about that.
That was pretty great. That's the number 9 rank. This is how hard it is to get these cards and get them complete. That's the number 9 ranked T3 set on the PSA registry, and these cards are mostly graded under 4. Right, so I mean, it's just a testament to how hard it is.
Yeah, I mean that's
Right.
a tough tough
Right.
series. It's a great series.
And so what we've decided to do was rather than sell the set, you know, all as one thing, we broke it up card by card. This way collectors can have a crack at it if you want one as a type card, or if you're trying to build your own set and you're missing a few, you can fill in those holes.
How many cards, Al?
I want to say in the 90s.
So what is there, 105 in the series? I think there's 105,
I think it's
right?
120.
Oh, is it? Is it that many? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's that, because you have all of those cards that you can get either numbered or with a checklist back.
Oh, right.
So there's but also right smack in the middle of that set is all the boxing, the T9s, which are really part of the same. It's part of the set, but we don't have any of the boxing cards in this. It's just baseball.
Very cool.
So,
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's a great set.
Al, great auction. And as we talked with Steve Bloedow early in the show, Zap, some great items on there, beyond the obvious. But when I went to your website and I went to the auction link, the Ali card jumped out at me. That Muhammad Ali.
Cool? That is a cool card.
Can you just talk about what that is, the brand, the year, and all that?
Yes, so it's a Hemet's Journal, which is, I believe, now I'm digging into the auction lot. I forget if it's Swiss or Swedish. Let's see. Let me look at my own description here. Swedish magazine.
Yeah.
So what it was a panel. There were 4 cards in a magazine. Okay. So you've got to detach this page from the magazine.
Gotcha.
It's tough to find to begin with. You have to detach this and then split up the cards. So it's very condition sensitive, and only really recently has it begun to get to be considered a card to begin with, right? Because it was really a page from a magazine.
Correct.
But they're hard to find, and they're hard to find in nice shape. And obviously, it's the first Cassius Clay card. It's Muhammad Ali's rookie card, right? I mean,
he looks like a little boy. He looks really young.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a little kid. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And really, is there a more famous? Is it still even today? Is there maybe Babe Ruth? Is there a more famous athlete than Muhammad
He's eternal.
Ali?
His name is eternal, and it's international.
Oh, he really is.
Yeah.
Hey, what about the Nagurski card? I saw that you have a Chickle Nagurski. Talk to me. Talk about it. That's a great card.
A collector grade card. It's a PSA 2. It was consigned to us at the National, which it was consigned ungraded, so we submitted it to PSA, and it's a really nice looking 2, and it's already, I think bidding is at 8,000 on day one.
That is really the Mona Lisa of football cards, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, it runs hand in hand. The Thorpe card is up there too, and the Jimmy Brown. But I think the Nagurski card.
Nagurski is tough, and it is. It's a high number from a really tough set to begin with. The high numbers in that set are really difficult. There's a lot of speculation that maybe the high number cards were only distributed regionally.
Yeah.
So it's a tough card to find, and I'm partial to that card. If you go back, we're in our 10th year now. If you go back to our very first auction, the marquee card in our first auction was a PSA 7 Nagurski.
Wow.
And at the time, it broke a record. It sold for $24,000 or $25,000. That was the record today. This 2 in our auction is at 8,000 on the first day.
Right.
That's crazy.
So it's, kind of gives you a little indication of where the hobby has gone.
You have a program in this auction that's literally 100 years old. You have a program from a Green Bay Bear. It's not the Bears. It was Green Bay, Chicago. It was the Chicago Live-Star, whatever the hell they
Chicago
were.
Staleys.
The Staleys, right. The Staleys, yeah.
Year.
1921 program.
Yeah, that's a great program. They became the Bears the next year. So this program is really the first Packers-Bears game.
Yeah, right.
Very cool.
Right.
Now we got about a minute left. What about the 38? Is that a Type 1 photo of 38 Yankees that you have?
Yep. That's a great one, too.
That's Gehrig and
DiMaggio and Gehrig.
That's a very cool picture.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to pay $2.4 million for a Ruth, we have the Collins McCarthy 1917. It's one of the it's really the only affordable Ruth that you can get anymore in a Red Sox uniform.
Wow.
And when I say affordable, bidding on that one's at $47,000 as we speak. So affordable is a relative term.
You've had a fabulous year. I'm very happy for you.
It has been a good year.
It's been good. And now you've got Andrew on board with you.
Yes.
We had the pleasure of meeting him last week at the Boston show. Really nice kid, very personable, and We wish you the best, brother. And as I said, we will be coming up to Kingston, and I expect you to buy Ellen and I a dinner. And don't be so cheap.
I'm scoping out all the Italian places, trying to find the good ones so that we can go to a couple of them.
I told you there's one in Lake Katrine called Reginato's. It's old blue hair, but it's real good Southern Italian. Italian.
I love when Zap calls people old.
Excuse me. All right, brother. Say hi to everyone.
Bye,
Take care,
Al.
guys.
Take
Be
care.
good.
Good to talk to you.
Al Crisafulli, what a good
That's
guy.
a fun auction.
He's
There's
a
some
good
good
guy.
stuff in
Real
there,
good
too.
guy. All right, real quickly before we leave, you can hold that up.
I'll hold it up.
Can you hold that up, please?
I got it.
We are going to pick out of the very famous Staten Island Joe cheap Hall of Fame museum bag that I still think he stole it from the Hall of Fame. This week's winner, and I am going to pick deep, is...
Oh, jeez. Nice catch.
Alan Gannett.
Gannett or Ganut?
Ganut. Alan Ganut.
Gannett?
Alan Gannett.
Or
Don't know who the hell you are.
I'm going to go with Ganut just because it's more fun to say.
All right. We don't know who you are, but you know the routine.
But you know who you are.
Right. You have 1 week. I repeat, 1 week to PM me, email us, message us, do it. Call us on the phone. After 1 week, if we don't hear from you, you're out. Very simple.
That's simple.
JM, great show today.
Hi, brother. Very good show.
Nice seeing you.
Good guess.
Great job by
Awesome.
Oh, we have a couple
David
of minutes
Chrissy.
left?
We do?
Oh.
No.
No.
He was claiming.
I thought I was saying peace. Great job as always, you
David
guys.
Chrissy, the best.
And to our viewers and listeners, is next week, that's before Thanksgiving, so I don't have to wish them a Thanksgiving now. That'll be next week.
You could do it anyway. I mean,
Yeah, have a good
right.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, don't be cheap with it. Jesus.
There you go. With that being said, we love you guys. Thanks for your support. Happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.